I guess I'm lacking in hope unless we talk eschatologically.
Theology of hope.
But even with that
In
ball of
time.
fire, we've got to act as if it's going to happen. Yeah.
Thank you for raising that, especially your last comment.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to quickly ask Sietske to tell us how you heard about Poteet in the Netherlands.
It was by Wally Mead, and it was because I was at the Polanium conference in Loyola in 2012.
I'm a psychologist, and I want to say that, I was sort of kind of, got into Poteet seminars because of Ellen was at Duke at the time. And it revolutionized my thinking in a lot of different ways. And I want to thank everybody because you've been very welcoming, and I think, very willing to listen to my attempts at, talking, in the way that, makes sense about these things. So I want to, thank everybody for being really open and willing to listen and encouraging to continue to do this. And I have a couple of things that maybe might be helpful. One potential ally, there's a movement now in psychology with the whole notion of mindfulness. And the Western and the Eastern kind of idea, which emphasizes a lot of the sense of the body and knowing in that particular way. And there's a group of neuroscientists now who are sort of making a very strong connection they're talking about listening to your gut and the connection of the heart and the mind. And I think these people may be, in some ways, if we can somehow talk about it, and I'm trying to be sort of kind of infiltrate. We have a little group, and I'm trying to infiltrate to say, you might want to look at some people who were looking at this in a different kind of way, and asking about people to maybe think about, maybe personal knowledge. Something is initially easier to sort of get to attend to. The other thing I was thinking, somebody mentioned computers, and I was thinking, and this might be maybe kind of pie in the sky, but people might be familiar with these kind of TED lectures that are sort of kind of,
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, whether we could not have someone kind of do a TED lecture. I mean, if you look at those, they are all over the map. I mean, they talk about a lot of different things, and that might be a way to do that. The other interesting thing is that NPR, Krista Tippett, I don't know how you feel about her, but she brings very interesting people in. And I'm wondering, on NPR, and I'm wondering if we could bring someone to sort of kind of talk. On Being, yes. And just the title itself, I think if somebody said, On Being, listen, here's somebody who can, who could talk about a different way of thinking about being. If we could somehow parlay it in somebody who's knowledgeable to talk about that and do that. And a lot of people are listening to these kinds of things as well as the TED lectures, and that may be a way of kind of bringing us more into the conscious, or making us more, more into the public realm of things.
Thank you.
Just mention that David Nichol has published a book that uses a lot of the new research in psychology and neuroscience that deals with the body. So talk to David.
Okay. Yes, your reference to mindfulness and the way you talked about it reminds me of another important author, actually a whole movement that I have previously brought up. I don't know if I brought up at the conference here or not, but the work of Eugene Gendlin and focusing.org is his website. Basically, he's a philosopher, but his key thing is getting at the edge of creativity, both in one's own personal life, but more generally, even in creating new theory, getting in touch with your bodily field. And he's developed a wonderful project for being able to sort of harness our ability to do that. And it's a worldwide movement. Go ahead.
I wanted to tell you there was hope. The Dolly Parton Foundation mails a book to children from the time they're born until their 5th birthday, once a month. So children who are enrolled the whole time get 60 books. And the family is not charged, the people around the village or wherever raise the money for it. Tennessee, it's statewide because the governor adopted it, saw that it was adopted statewide. It's brilliant and it matters. It makes literate families.
How do we feel about literacy?
What?
How do we feel about literacy?
It seems like hope was mentioned.
So glad we got to talk.
I promise I'm not going to jump up in.
It may be worthwhile in some of the little time we have left to address the issue raised by Wally, and that has to do with sustaining hope in a situation where the prospects of significant change to the drifts of our culture are so inimical to what we are about, or have been about at this conference.
That hits on one of the reasons why I am here. I mean, I didn't study with Poteet. I became interested in the same at that Loyola conference. And the deepest reason for me being here is to see what Poteet and the people who know Poteet better than I do can do to help me sustain hope in what I see as being a very deep, not just environmental problem, but also political problem. Now, we have lost democracy. We don't have a democracy anymore. We've got a plutocracy.
Right.
And that's connected to the fact that we're ruining our environment. You know, the plutocratic structure of our government is deeply connected to the environmental crisis because it's the money that comes from large corporations that keeps the political people in political power from making any significant kind of change to do anything about global warming. So we're just twiddling our thumbs and doing all sorts of, you know, showcase kinds of things that make it look as if we're doing something, but we're not.
Right.
And for me, I have a problem. How do I cope with this without despair? And I'm still teaching students, and I have children and grandchildren who are going to be facing what I think is catastrophe coming up within the next century. And I frankly don't know how to do it. I just don't know how to be honest as a sociologist, you know, trying to teach about the state of the world and our society without making people fall into despair. And that's why I'm here.
One thought that just occurs to me right now in relationship to what you're saying, it's not by way of an answer, but maybe a clue, is Betty Wolf's suggestion was brought up yesterday. It was, I wish we would have stayed with the Mustaka sculpture from the very beginning for the whole conference. I mean, the importance of great, good art to any kind of gathering together or whatever. I think it's a source, maybe a source of hope in some important respects.
I'd also like to interject a point of personal privilege here. We're drifting out now, and we've got to go. And I'm afraid that it's going to get down where we don't, we're just all drifted away. But while there's a critical mass of people in here still, I just would like to think of something personal. A lot of people have worked with you, and we've acknowledged them in making this conference possible. But like most things that happen, even though a lot of people are involved in it, there is always one person without whom it would never have happened at all. And obviously you are this person, and I want to acknowledge that. And you've essentially come out of retirement and worked tirelessly, and we're all deeply grateful to what you've done for us.
There would be a bronze of a cat cannon. At the next Polanyi meeting, we will dedicate a cannon to you. You know, I just wanted to say, I really did appreciate this. I came for it as a reunion. It was a reunion for me. Lots of people I know, and it's been a long time, and I've been away from all this stuff. And the one thing and too bad Diane left, she mentioned the humanities. I've spent my life on working with the humanities and writing and trying to get humanities people to stand up and get off their duffs and be humanities people, and led the humanities division. And part of the problem in colleges and universities is not that those mean old administrators are using statistics. It's the failure of humanities people to understand what they're supposed to be about.
That's right.
And I want to speak in defense of disciples. Okay, you know, sometimes we're going to become, you damn right we ought to be disciples. Jesus had a bunch of, they were sorry disciples, but it was, you know, as Jesus said, heck, you know, as they say in the South, halitosis is better than no breath at all. And we better be disciples of something. And I understand what you said about all this stuff, you know, but as long as I'm still alive, I don't plan to despair. I plan to speak out, be present. Let's authorize what we know and who we are, where we are, and I guarantee it makes a difference. It makes a difference. You can't have a structure that's going to withstand your retirement. I learned that. But you can still show up and do it. And what we're trying to do is get more people to show up. So wherever we go back home and be a humanities person if you believe in the humanities. And don't try to get somebody else to teach writing for you, or somebody else to teach all those non-majors. That's what kills me about humanities people. They only teach their majors, for God's sakes. So I just think we are, in some sense, disciples of our tradition, and we ought to be pleased. And I appreciate the chance of sort of reminding myself of that. And I appreciate the fact that I met people I didn't know before. Good people out there. You're all good people. Thank you much. And thank you, Dale. You did a good job. Now we're going to sing the doxology.
It is Sunday morning.
Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. I got to go. We'll see you.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
Thank you.
I guess I see a sense of hope, you know, in the whole process, I guess, of Petit, kind of, that a lot of his books, like Recovering the Ground, I mean, that I guess, I endorse and I sort of see the despair, but I guess I have a sense of hope that he still, went through that, whatever renting and moments of despair, and produced all of this and thought about, recovering the ground. And I guess that to me is a sense of hope, that we can maybe continue that effort of recovering the ground, as or whatever the title of the book is. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but that to me is a sense of hope. Gives me a sense of hope that one can continue to do that, no matter how bleak and how overwhelmed we may feel, and how twisted it may seem at the moment. That we can maybe emerge from that with a sense of possibility, and to act, I guess, in the sense of what we've been talking all along, to be present and move on and act from that sense of being.
Man put it, bake another pie.
Yeah.
And he has a wonderful interview with, who was that guy from NPR now?
Norman Gerspa?
No, I'll think of it in a minute, but anyway.
Tom Ashcroft?
Pardon me?
Ashcroft? Tom Ash?
No, but at any rate, I'll think of Bill Moyers. And I play this video. It's about a 20-minute video with my students. And Wendell Berry says, I don't ask my farm what it can do for me. I ask my farm, what do you need? And he said, we can hope. And we don't have the right to ask ourselves whether what we do is going to ultimately be successful in the long run or not. That's the wrong question. He says the hope comes from good examples of people who do, and the farm is kind of a metaphor for, the place that you are in the world. And you don't ask it, what can it do for me? But you ask, what do you need? And that seems to me that, and he says, I don't hope in mankind, I hope in a few people like this, and he referred to people who came there to hear, who are doing that, who are basically starting out from where they are and asking the situation, what do you need?
Think locally. Good. Thank you.
Seems to me that's what Bill Petit did,
I think so.
especially with his students, single-minded kind of way. He said, what do you need?
Yeah.
Whatever else he did, he was asking, that's what he asked me, in not so many words, but what do you need? I'll help you get it.
Yeah, that
I
made me
needed to
think
find
of-
myself and be confident in my voice,
Yeah.
and he helped me start. And he was the one. It wasn't somebody so much before or after.
Yeah.
So I resonate to what you're saying. It has much broader implications, but
Just as an additional comment to what you're saying in connection with Bill, I mean, I've just thought about what you were saying, Dick, in connection with Wendell Berry and thinking and working locally, not trying to work out at the universal level. That's part of the abstracting alienation from ourselves, from our the here-ness of our mind, body, and its locale. When we try to think in too big a terms, try to think in terms of the universal or in terms of just statistics, rather than what's staring us in our own immediate neighborhood. Our place.
I wonder if we can't encourage people who presented at the conference to publish their papers as a way of letting people know that this occurred and that this kind of activity is going on. They might need reframing in some way, but that would be one concrete thing we could do.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that's certainly worthwhile. One of the things that the planning committee has thought about kind of from the beginning, I'm thinking particularly of Wally and my correspondence, but you've been partly party to this, and that's when I first came up with the basic design of the way the conference was put together in terms of the different sessions and so forth. Wally came back with, it looks like a perfect table of contents outline of a book. So that may be a way too, but I think if, and insofar as it might be published elsewhere, and that's not incompatible, that might be a way to get word farther out.
Will TAD be interested at all?
I'm sure they would, although TAD has a limited readership on its own, and so that's, I don't want to rule that out. And then it may be also, because we've got this video recording of the conference, we're thinking about at least putting some kind of version of the videos of the conference online, possibly by way of YouTube videos and that sort of thing.
We can come up with a great title, seriously. We can't call it the privacy of persons.
No.
But there must be another, if we can come up with a great title, I think we can have a good...
I don't think that would be all that hard to do.
Since we're talking practicalities for a minute, Wally and I were talking on the way over that apparently the mother lode of Poteet material is in his widow's attic, Pat's attic. And that, I know that I have a similar pile in my attic. So I understand the block in terms of getting into that and getting it to where it could come into the archive. So if anybody has any ideas or contacts about how we could pull that off within the constraints that we would be facing, that would be great.
Do you know Pat personally?
I do, although Betty Wolf would be a closer friend, and I know she's thinking about what was said, and I'm sure would be willing to contact, or may be willing to contact Pat about that.
There've been, Wally had said to me, I don't remember whether this was said to the group as a whole, papers on which Poteet had made comments. If they're still available, might well be something to be passed on for the collection.
We might make a concerted effort to show Pat what went on. I'm sure you will be in touch, but so that she sees the extent and the quality of the interest in Bill's work.
Well, we're in Kieran's website, will be a great way to start.
I took a lot of pictures, other people did too. Some of those that are decent photographs, should I send them to you in digital form?
Sure, yeah.
And then they could be posted, and I assume no one would object to having their...
Our plan right now is that the WH Poteet website will be there indefinitely.
Great.
Okay. Thank you so much for this time and for what's come from it, and some very good suggestions. And thank you simply for your presence and participation in the conference.